Okay, well, I guess welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the webinar. Today we'll be talking about the channel trend study that was conducted just a couple of weeks ago during our channel focus event. And this will be a great way to learn the insight of what we should be expecting in 2021. I don't think we need a big introduction here for Rod Bapty, as all of you very much know him from Channel Focus and all the other events he does, but I'll hand it over to you, Rod.
Thank you very much, Caleb. So welcome to the webinar, and I'm going to be sharing a lot of data in the next 45 minutes. Don't try and copy down the statistics. We will send everyone a link to the data after the webinar. So you'll be able to go in and take a closer look at what are some really fascinating statistics. I won't worry about all of that. I would say if you attended, you should be registered, but if you're not registered with the Channel Focus community, it's completely free. It only takes a minute, and there is a huge body of best practice and how to channel information available to community members. And I welcome any questions on the webinar that we're about to do. So if you do want to ask a question, there are two ways of doing it. You can either ask live via a microphone. So basically, click on the raise your hand button. We can then unmute you. You can ask the question live, and I will try and respond to the question. Alternately, you have a question box and a question module. Type your question into the module, and we will pick up on those questions. And again, hopefully, I will be able to provide a suitable answer. So looking forward to the next 45 minutes. So start with who answered the survey. These were all people in vendor companies running channel programs in companies across the world. So 27% of the people who answered the survey were the VP of channels, another 34% director of channels, 18% channel managers, and 21% other. So a nice spread across the board. I'm not going to go into this one, but a huge spread across the different aspects of the IT and telecom industries. So a really good group. We had hundreds of replies to the survey. So this really does give a very interesting cross-section of what's happening. We did have this year, quite interestingly, I think because the event was live, a significant number of people who had a smaller channel. And so a couple of times during the presentation, I'll break out what results we were getting from people with substantial channels versus those with smaller channels. So looking ahead, what do we see over the next 12 months? What changes, if any, do you anticipate with regard to your channel partner program offerings? Now, 56% of us see that we will be offering a net increase in terms of the programs we offer. That's actually down on 2018. My real worry here is only 8% of us see a decrease in the number of partner programs we offer. If part of what we're trying to do is be easy to do business with, this is probably not a good chart unless we've come up with a wonderful way to make our overall partner program something that's easy for the partners to deal with. We also asked about sales through the following channels, and there are some really interesting discrepancies here. The first chart I'm going to show you is basically the chart that basically is from our Club 50. And Club 50 are 50 of the most senior channel leaders in the world. and they represent some of the biggest companies in the IT and telecom industries. And what you're looking for as you look at this chart, and I know there's a lot to look at, is the green and the red line. The green line basically represents people saying this particular channel is increasing. The red line says it is decreasing, and these are the percentages of people using these channels. So if we start at the top, and I'm not going to go through each of them, I'm going to focus on the ones that are most important. For ISPs, the vast majority of people see their sales through ISPs increasing in 2021, and a tiny proportion, about 5%, see sales through ISPs decreasing in 2021. The blue bar remains the same. The worry you've got, and again, this is Club 50 only, and there will be some substantial differences when we get to the overall results of the survey. If you look at traditional distributors, amongst the Club 50 members, there are more people that see sales through traditional distributors declining versus rising. Again, if you look at the VAR columns, more people in Club 50 see VAR sales declining than increasing. Again, if you look at the green bars, the standout channels that people see for 2021 are MSPs, SIs, marketplaces, where in Club 50 nobody sees them declining, and ISPs. So these are the four channels where there is universal agreement that basically these are four channels that are really going to be increasing and increasing their importance in 2021. And as I say, remember, this is Club 50. If we now look at the overall results, basically, this is the whole group. If you look overall, MSPs, SIs, marketplaces, ISVs are again the standout channels. Vast majority of us see those channels increasing in 2021. Interestingly, amongst the whole group, there are still 45% of the wider group that see sales through VARs increasing in 2021, and the traditional distributors perform much better against the whole group than they do against the members of Club 50. We need to do a lot more dive in to the data to try and understand why those discrepancies exist, but they are interesting. But again, across the board, the channels that we see growing fastest are in 2021 are MSPs, SIs, marketplaces, and ISVs, very closely followed in both cases by large account resellers. So those are the channels that we think are going to be substantial and very important as we move into 2021. Which of the following do you sell to directly? This really hasn't moved substantially in the last 10 years. The vast majority of us selling to both end customers and channel partners other than distribution directly. So the traditional two-tier model where everything goes through distribution and onto the partner, yes, it may be one of our channels, but it's one of our channels. We are selling direct to end customers and channel partners as part and parcel of what we do. Interestingly, in the next 12 months, do you see your sales through indirect channels? And again, it's rising little by little year on year. In 2018, 84% of us thought sales through indirect channels would increase. If we look to 2021, the channel, according to us, is most definitely not dead. 85% of people thought sales through indirect channels would increase. Interestingly, a small increase in the number of people from 1 to 3% thought they would decrease, and 12% only feeling that sales through indirect channels will remain the same. So we're very bullish about our indirect channel sales. In the next 12 months, do you want to increase the number of channel partners you deal with, reduce the number of channel partners you deal with, or keep the number of channel partners you deal with the same? Interestingly, 67%, which is a drop. It dropped from 2017 through 2018 to 2021. We're now back to the 2013 number. 67% of us want to see the number of channel partners we deal with increase. And again, interestingly, we're almost back to 2013 in terms of the number of us that want to reduce the number of channel partners we deal with. 4% want to keep the number of channel partners you deal with the same. Again, it's definitely a moving feast. I think the reason for the 17% is we're seeing an awful lot of changes and people are really beginning to focus on the partners that matter. Which best describes your channel recruitment strategy over the next 12 months? Again, 50% of us want to recruit selected partners to address key market sectors. So a very focused recruitment strategy, but that's dropped substantially from 60 to 50% from 2018 to now. 27% of us want to focus on our current partner base, a small increase. More of us, interestingly, than 2018, an increase of 8 to 12%, want to recruit a significant number of net new partners, and up from 6 to 9%, 9% of us want to reduce our partner base to focus on a smaller number of our most effective partners. So I think what this says is we're beginning to understand who our partners are, who the potentials are, and we're beginning to become much more focused in our channel recruitment strategy and what we want to do. Headcount of our channel team. Well, if you're involved in the channels, it looks like 2021 is going to be a good year. 40% of us felt that in 2021, the headcount of the channel team was likely to increase. Just 34% thought it would remain the same. And if you're in one of those companies that see it's going to significantly increase, you're in a very good place, with only 4% of us seeing a decrease in the headcount of the channel team. So clearly, despite all the economic ups and downs, if you're involved in the channels, this is a very good place to be at the moment. Do you think the amount you will spend on Co-op and MDF in 2021 will increase, decrease, or remain the same? Well, it's fairly steady. 46% think it will increase. 9% of us, a substantial increase from 2018, think it will decrease, but 37% seeing it will remain approximately the same. So again, it looks like we have more funds in 2021 overall to spend on the channel than we had last year. On average, what percentage of your total sales do you provide to partners as Co-op and MDF? Now, this is interesting. We've seen over the last few years, if you look at this overall, a general decline. So you're seeing a rise in the 0 to 1%, a substantial rise in no funds being provided. minor increase at the 3% level, but if you take these numbers overall, they're shifting to the left. And I don't think that's because we're spending less on the channel. I think it's because we're becoming far more targeted in the way we provide money to partners, and Co-op and MDF is, for many of us, no longer the most appropriate way to provide that money. So Co-op and MDF funds overall in decline, but we did believe that overall the amount of money available was going to increase, and that suggests a significant shift in the kind of programs we're supporting and in what we're actually doing and in how we're allocating that money. Approximately what percentage of your potential Co-op and MDF funds remain unclaimed? Well, we appear to be doing significantly better. 57% no funds go unclaimed, and you can look through the other numbers. Goodness only knows in the 4% that answered the survey, where 31 to 40% of their funds go unclaimed. But generally, where we are allocating funds, the claims seem to be going up. That would suggest that where we are allocating them, we're actually doing a better job of doing that, and our partners are doing a better job of utilizing those funds. So what do you see as your partner's biggest challenges in 2021? And this doesn't add up to 100 because people ticked and were able to check more than one, but we see our partner's biggest challenge in 2021 as being able to effectively sell remotely. That was closely followed by maintaining client relationships in a remote environment and an inability to pivot to social and digital marketing. So these are the three #1 challenges we see for our partners moving into 2021. So if anyone is looking at their partner program, we should probably be spending time and effort in helping our partners overcome these three challenges. In 2021, what do you think most closely represents your organization's view of the channel? Well, we're pretty bullish about this, as almost 65% of us think it will be seen as even more important to their company's success. Massively the largest answer. The one thing that's creeping up, and this has grown substantially over the last 12 months since we conducted the last survey, is that 10% of us do believe the channel's going to come under increasing pressure to justify itself financially. Now, what do we think of the programs we provide for our partners? Well, frankly, we have a pretty poor idea of the programs we're providing. These are the average marks that we gave ourselves out of 5. So as far as Co-op and MDF programs are concerned, we give ourselves a staggeringly not high 3.1 out of 5 in terms of our satisfaction with the program. When it comes to deal registration, we're at 3.4. Partner portals, 3.3, and our partner-to-partner programs, 2.7. So it's really interesting that we believe we have a long way to go in terms of delivering quality programs to our customers. It will be fascinating to get the partners' perspective on this and see if they agree with us, or if we're being overly harsh in terms of the way we're judging the things that we deliver for our partners. Now, here's a fascinating slide with an absolute mountain of data. So basically, I'll spend a little bit of time here just explaining what we've got. We asked people which elements of your channel strategy is your organization looking to change or place more emphasis on in 2021. People could tick multiple things, and basically, as you can see, in the vast majority of cases, between 30 and 40% of organizations were actively looking at pretty much everything apart from financial support for partners in difficult market sectors. So we have a significant number of people, almost 40%, looking at increased incentives for new customer acquisitions. Obviously, customer acquisition is very important. We're looking for new logos, and a lot of us are looking at putting time and effort into our channel strategy and into our channel programs to increase the incentives that we're giving partners for new logo acquisitions. We're also very focused on customer satisfaction. 32% of us placing an emphasis as part of our channel program on customer satisfaction, which I think makes a huge amount of sense. And it's something that I know a lot of companies are looking to do a better job of in terms of tracking. Increased support for partner sales and marketing training is the number one thing that we are emphasizing for 2021. If we go back to our previous slide and remember that those were two areas where we felt our partners were struggling the most, that makes absolutely perfect sense. The way they go to market, the shift to digital, the shift to remote selling is a challenge. And so it makes absolute sense to spend money in those areas and to increase the support for partner sales and marketing training. Targeted support for partners focused on key industry sectors. That for me was surprisingly high. It makes perfect sense. The more focused we are, the more focused our partners are, the more they're able to deliver a really good solution for the customer. And almost 40% of us are providing targeted support for partners focused on key industry sectors. Now, we looked at the channels earlier, and again, this mirrors that. New channels are emerging, marketplaces are becoming important, MSPs are important, and almost 50% of us looking at focusing on adding new channel types to our portfolio. So we're looking outside the box. We're saying what we have at the moment isn't quite right for the way things are shaping up at the moment. We need to look at new potential channels, and we need to start figuring out how we add those to our portfolio. A change in emphasis on the support offered to different channel marketing capabilities is what that should say. Again, that makes perfect sense. After all, we know the partners need to switch to social and digital marketing. We know it's a huge challenge for them. And so our emphasis on the support we offer is significant. And a reevaluation of the tiering strategy. Here's an interesting one. This has been an absolute discussion point for a number of years. What do we tier? What does it actually mean? What does it mean for the partners? How do we decide on the tiers? Is it purely based on revenue? Is it based on their importance in terms of market sector, type of business they're doing? So a lot of us are actually really beginning to look at our tiering strategy and what it should be. And a very significant percentage, 38% of us, are basically reevaluating our complete channel strategy as we move into 2021. So one of the fascinating things here is all of these were seen as very important by the group answering the survey. And we asked about payment options associated with vendor cloud offerings, and what do people offer? Well, these don't add up to 100% because many of us have different offerings, and so we'll have 2 or 3 ways that we might be paying our partners as far as their cloud offerings are concerned. But interestingly, we've seen a drop, which I found very surprising, from 74 to 61% of us paying in perpetuity as long as the customer remains with us. I think that's a very interesting decline. It is quite significant. My worry is if you're not paying the partner in perpetuity and the partner has a very strong relationship with the customer, are you in danger of the partner walking in with an alternative product and selling that to that customer? But it will be very interesting to look next year to see how that number has changed. 41% of us, and this is where it shifted from paid in perpetuity to paid for a fixed period of time. We don't have the data in the research to say what that period of time is, sadly, something we need to look at. But that has jumped substantially from 29 to 41%. And if you look there, that's a 12% increase. That's a 13% decrease. So I think we're seeing a direct shift for a number of folks from paid in perpetuity to paid for a fixed period of time. Paid on a reducing scale, 2% increase, not significant. 31% offering a one-time finder's fee. I think that's a signal that a lot more of us are offering referral programs than perhaps we did in the past. Now, I am jumping through these slides very quickly. Again, as a reminder, if you've got any questions, just pop them in the box and we'll come to them at the end of the webinar. And if we move to the next slide. For cloud sales, what percentage do your partners earn on average? And here it's very clear that we're beginning to focus around the 10 to 20% mark. And indeed, you're seeing a shift there. As you can see, a significant drop in those of us that pay less than 10%, a rise in the 10 to 15% mark, a rise in the 15 to 20% mark, and as we get to the numbers beyond 20%, those are significantly declining until, interestingly, we get to the very high numbers, and I suspect that's because those are very special types of deals in the 30 to 40% and in the 40 to 50% mark. So I think it's a real lesson. We're beginning to see a settling of the percentage paid to cloud partners for the deals that they're doing. Again, if we look at the cloud, we look at things like MRR, etc. How are we actually doing the billing? And again, these don't add up to 100%, and the reason is people are offering multiple billing options. And there are a number of interesting things here. 42% of us are offering a program where they bill the customer and pay the partner a commission. Essentially the agent model that's been operating in the telecom industry for many, many years. And that is a very significant number, tiny drop since last year, and it'll be interesting to see how that works. You bill the partner and the partner bills the customer. The kind of traditional model, well, 72% of us have a model like that in place. Clearly, the distributor's role in this is declining in terms of their touch on the end customer. So your distributor bills the customer and pays the partner a commission. We've gone from 16% in 2017 of people offering that kind of program. That's halved between 2017 and where we expect it to be next year. Your distributor bills the partner, traditional distribution model. Interestingly, only 37% of us have that model in place for our cloud offerings. So I think that's where we see a huge decline in terms of the importance of traditional distribution. 10% of us have a wholesale model, and as I said, there has been a very, very sharp rise in people who provide a referral model to their customers, up from 28% to 38% in a year. That is a sharp increase. And I think the lesson from here is one size doesn't fit all. You can't go to your partners with a single offering if you've got a complex set of products and services. You need to be more flexible than that. And I know this chart, if you show it to your CFO, it will drive them absolutely wild. So if you want to drive your CFO wild tomorrow, take this chart to them and just watch the look on their face. So that's a very quick run through of the overall results of the research. And as I said, let's get some questions coming in, and I will be happy to answer those. And I've had a question, are these charts going to be made available for download? Yes, because there's no way in the world anyone could digest all of this information in the 35-40 minutes we've been on the call. Any other questions from anyone? Or have I just bamboozled you with too much information? I think it's getting close to Christmas, so I don't see any other questions coming through. I think people are desperate to get hold of the charts, so we will make them available to everyone, and we'll be sending out a link where you can download them. If you do have questions, basically, please come back to me, and I would be delighted to answer them. Question I've got is most of the feedback from US partners. Yes, the majority of the feedback is from the US, but not from partners. This is feedback from the vendor community, and so people who are running channel programs, though largely folks in the United States. I will therefore leave everyone and thank you very much for joining us, and look forward to receiving the link. And as I say, any further questions, please get back to me. Thank you very much indeed.